Okay, please listen. So we have discussed regarding potable water, and we were discussing regarding health and water quality. What is the importance of drinking safe water or good quality water? And some of the points we have already discussed. Here also, I think I have shown this photo also. Now, there are a few more points in that. In the last class, we have been seeing that around 71% of the global population is having good quality water or safely managed drinking water, but around 2 billion people are not getting that proper water. Then by 2025, more half of the world population will be living in a water stressed area, because of climate change. Many changes are taking place. Now, if you watch the TV today, you know that in Europe, many parts of Europe, the temperature is increasing. In the last time when I was seeing the TV, they saw that in certain areas of France, the temperature is around 38 degrees. Normally, the temperature there will be 15 or 20 degrees. So, because of climate change, the situation, climate in many parts of the world are changing, and that can also put additional stress on availability of water. So, when water is not available, that will be leading to several kinds of disease. People will be drinking poor quality water, and that can in turn lead to waterborne diseases. We will be seeing what are the major type of waterborne diseases. Then here you can see that in the least developed countries, 22% of the healthcare facilities have no water service. That is then 21% have no sanitation service, and 22% have no waste management. That is the data provided by. So you can imagine what is the situation in poor countries, especially in least developed countries. Now, if you watch TV daily, you can see that in many parts of the world, the countries are in economical distress, economical trouble. You will see about the situation in Sri Lanka. Last time they are in TV. They are saying that in many families they are not even having they are skipping even one meal per day every day. So they don't have anything to eat. So that situation is affecting because of corona and other kind of financial mismanagement by global leaders. And poor people are facing more trouble. And who will be affecting more? It will be the poor people. And there will be problems with availability of water. Here you can see when where water is not readily available, people may decide hand washing is not a priority. If you don't have enough water to drink, why should we waste water for hand washing? The simple hand washing itself can remove lot of bacteria from your hand. So when we are avoiding the hand washing, that itself can be responsible for the development of many diseases, especially waterborne diseases. So that is one importance. When simple hand washing is avoided, that will be leading to development of many dysentery or diarrhea like diseases. So in many parts of the world, this is a reality. Here also you can see in few around few decades, around 20 or 30 years back, this is a common sight in many parts of India. Now situation in India has improved a lot because of good water management. Still, India is a country where more than half of the people are living in dry areas, not like as we are seeing in Kerala. We go to Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, or Odisha, and in most states we can see that there is extreme water shortage. And situation like this, images like the are still you can take such these kind of situations are still present there. In 2017, over 220 million people required preventive treatment for schistosomiasis through exposure. Schistosomiasis is a disease caused by a parasite called schistosoma. So it is mainly entering your body through water. So especially polluted water. So when you are drinking polluted water or water containing this schistosoma parasite, that will be causing this disease known by the name schistosomiasis. Now, fortunately in India it is not very common, but in many African countries we have several incidents of schistosomiasis. In many parts of the world, insects that live or breed in water carry and transmit disease like dengue fever. Because dengue fever now we are all afraid of dengue fever. About 10 years or 20 years back, we are not bothered about dengue fever. Dengue was not a common disease. Now, because of the change in several changes, dengue fever has become a problem even in our state. Some of these insects, known as vectors, breed in clean rather than dirty water, and household drinking water contained can serve as a breeding ground. This is one important reason. See, read that sentence. These bacteria, especially the bacteria like Culex, the common type of mosquito that we can see, especially during daytime. If there is a very small mosquito, if it is biting, it cause intense pain also. That kind of they are breeding in dirty, not in dirty water. Dirty water means sewage water, you can. But mostly they are breeding in drinking water containers. So if you are not closing the drinking water properly, these kind of insects can lay their eggs, and their eggs can develop from that clean water. So that is one problem that we can avoid. Simple intervention of covering water storage container. For example, you have a water tank above your house, and if this water tank is not properly covered, it is kept open, bacteria, this kind of insects or like mosquitoes can breed in that water. So that can be a source of source for the development of this kind of disease like dengue fever. So they are not breeding in dirty water; they need to call in clean water. So it is in the clean water they are breeding, and here it is because of the ignorance of human beings. These insects are using this kind of water. So it is very important that we have to cover the water storage containers, whether it is inside your house or outside your house. It is very much important that we must properly cover the water storage containers. When water comes from improved and more accessible source, people spend less time in an effort in physically collecting it, meaning that they can be productive in other ways. For example, what this sentence means that when you don't have enough, for example, you are coming to school, you are not getting water from in the tap, then what you will be doing? You will be going to some public water collection center like this. You will be waiting there for hours. That means you will be losing the your lot of hours that you can use for studies or other kinds of activities. So that is the meaning of this sentence. When people are not getting water, sufficient amount of water, they will have to spend lot of hours, lot of time for collecting the good quality water. This is the situation, and if the water availability is not there. So that means when in good quality water are available, they don't need to waste a lot of time for collecting it, and that time can be used for other productive like studies or doing some kind of work. Better water sources also mean less expenditure on health. So this is another area. So when water, why water quality is so much important? For the public, good quality water is important. You go to the first paragraph. First paragraph shows that if good quality water is there, then people can be productive in other areas. If that water is not available, children and adult will be spending a lot of time in collecting that. Second problem is that if good quality water is there, there will not be much waterborne diseases. So we don't need to spend a lot of money in maintaining our health. That is the second. The better water sources mean that less expenditure on health. For example, if we are drinking poor quality water and one or two members in your family is having diarrhea or dysentery, that means you will be losing a lot of money and you will have to take them to hospital. So that less expenditure on health. So good by simply providing good quality water, we can make sure that society remains in a good situation. For society remains healthy, they will have more money at home, they have more money in their hand, and they will have more time for other productive work. So that is the importance of maintaining or giving good quality water. So as people are less likely to fall ill and incur medical, but they are better able to remain economically productive. See, if there is some dysentery or diarrhea, you may not be able to come to the college. Your parents may not be able to go to the work. So, having good quality water is very much important, not to just avoid disease. It is also important to make sure that people remain healthy, people have enough money in their hand. So for all these purpose, good quality water is very much important. When with the children particularly at risk, water-related diseases, access to improved source of water can result in better health. Therefore, better school attendance with positive long. For example, if people are having constant frequent diarrhea or frequent dysentery, and people are coming, you are a teacher and most of your children are coming from a rural area, and in most of the time the children are not coming to the classes. When we inquire about them, the reason is that they are having dysentery or diarrhea. So how can you avoid that? The only solution is giving them good water. So not having good quality water means that they will be having more health problem, and they will not be coming to the school, or they will not be going to the park. So that is the side effects of not having good quality water. Here up also you can see some picture. When water which is contaminated can be treated to turn into potable water. So how can we treat a contaminated water? In most of the time, if you are in TV, newspaper, and radio, there are frequent advertisement about always boil the water before you drink. So best way to kill this bacteria is to boil the water for some time. So that is the easiest method. But then boiling water may not remove heavy contaminants, but it can neutralize most bacteria and virus which may be present. So the best method and easiest method that we can do in our house is to boil the water. By simply boiling the water, we can kill the majority of the bacteria and virus and other parasites. But still some chemical pollutants may be there. The problem with the speciality with the chemical pollutants, that chemical pollutants may not cause immediate problem. The problem that caused by chemical pollutant will be in the long run, maybe after 5 years or 10 years. But that is not like the but in the case of bacteria and virus, they are causing immediate problem. Within 2 days or 3 days, the bacteria may multiply and cause you a dysentery or diarrhea. So boiling water can also be treated with chemicals such as bleach, which sometimes come in the form of tablet. For example, if you are going to forest area or some other kinds of area for camp or something, there are certain tablets. If you put that tablets into the water, it will be able to kill most of the bacteria and virus in that. So such tablets are available in the market. So that is another method. If you are not if you are not able to boil the water, this is the only method. By from the medical shop you can get such tablets. Then in addition, water can be pumped through a filter. Now if you go in many parts of our college now, filters are available. And majority of these filters work on the principle of ultraviolet. And we will be discussing about how UV filtration is preventing is killing the bacteria. There is a one topic on that. Or there we will be. So that is another method. By using some filter or UV filter or ozonization, we can all kill this bacteria. And for those working in hot climate, up to 16 liters of water may be required. For example, if you are working in an area like India or in Arabia, in African countries or in the Middle East, the temperature is very high. So people have to take more water. That is up to 16 liters may be required. Water makes up to 60% of body weight in men and 55% of body weight in women. That is why that shows that men has to take more amount of water daily. That is one reason. And infants are about 70 to 80% water. So that means if the infants are having some kind of diarrhea or vomiting, you can say notice that within 2 days or 3 days they become quite weak. because 80% of their body weight is water. So if they are losing water from their body, they will be immediately become tired. That is a problem. So this is an important problem affecting children in many parts of the world. Even in the first world countries, after a major disaster like for example flooding or an earthquake, even in a developed countries, even after a major disaster can be anything like natural calamities, flooding, earthquake, or other kinds of calamity. Access to potable water may be. For example, think of the situation in Ukraine right now. There, everything is destroyed day by day. So, people and children living there may not be able to get quality water there. So, the war is causing a lot of problem. Along with that, lack of this quality water can also lead to health problems. So, that is the problem. People in this situation can look for potable water in hot water heaters and toilet tanks, and they should save this water for the drink. So, for example, if there is no scope for that is one method by way if there is no availability of water, especially in countries like in situation like Ukraine, or if you go to certain areas of the world where there is no absolutely no scope for, then even the toilet water can be treated and that can be used again. So that is another method. For bathing and cleaning, non-potable water can often be used. And keeping purification tablets on hand, that's also already we have, because if there is no scope for boiling water, the best method to carry some purification tablets. Most of these purification tablets work on the principle of bleach. Then, after major storms and hurricanes, citizens should wait to be assured that the water is potable. In case sewage pipes have ruptured and contaminated, and I told you during flooding, what happens is that the flood water will be also entering the toilet tank or septic tank, and the bacteria present in septic tank will be reaching the pond water or well water, and that will be contaminating it. So that is the one problem that can happen after a flooding or any kind of natural calamities. Now we will be coming to another area. So these are some points. All the points you may not need to keep in your mind, but sometimes you can give an account of what is the importance of health and water quality, or comment on the topic health and water quality. Then you can mention all these points. Now next topic is parameters of water quality. What are the important parameters we have to keep in mind for checking the water quality? One is acidity. Normally, the acidity of the water. Acidity means normally if you take the pH of the water. In school classes, you might have studied about acidity and alkalinity and pH. There is a neutral pH called 7, and most of the time the water will be having around a pH of 7 in most, if you take the most of the water. If the water is below 5, then that water is too acidic. If they around even below 6, it is still too acidic. So acidity and alkalinity. So the normal range that can be consumed should be between 6.5 to 7.5. That water is comparatively more safe. Then ammonia, presence of ammonia. Ammonia is a chemical. Then biological oxygen demand. Biological oxygen demand means if water contains some decaying matter, that decaying process will be done by some bacteria, and that decaying process will be utilizing lot of oxygen present in the water. So what happens is that the bacteria will be consuming most of the oxygen present in the water, and there will not be any free oxygen in the water. Then electrical conductivity of the water. Electrical conductivity means if water contains more chemical pollutants or minerals, that electrical conductivity will increase. So by simply measuring the electrical conductivity of a water, we will get an idea about how much chemical pollutants or how much minerals are present in water. It's a very easiest test. So by using certain instruments that can measure electrical conductivity, we will be getting an idea whether water is polluted water or clean water. Then dissolved oxygen. Normally dissolved oxygen will be in the range of around 6 units. But if it is less than that 6 units, that water is still not good. Then fecal coliform. Fecal coliform simply means fecal bacteria like E. coli. E. coli is an important bacteria. Then hardness of the water. In some areas, if you go, especially near to the ocean, the well water may be hard water, and that water will be containing lot of phosphate and magnesium salt, and that may not be good for your health. Then presence of heavy metals like arsenic, mercury. If those kinds of metals are present in water, that water may be unsafe for drinking. Then other is like nitrate. We already discussed the importance of nitrate, nitrogen and nitrogen. Then phosphorus is also. Phosphorus and nitrate usually come because in agriculture field people are using lot of fertilizer. And this fertilizer can be washed from the agriculture field and can reach a pond or a well water. That is how the nitrate and phosphates are reaching well water. Then amount of total solid, how much solid particles are dissolved in water. Then temperature of the water. Then turbidity. Turbidity is an indication that how much amount of particles are suspended in the water. For example, when during the flooding, the most of the time water will be yellowish in color. That means the water containing more amount of suspended soil particles. So that will be increasing the turbidity. So turbidity simply means a measure of how much amount of suspended particles are dissolved. If more suspended particles are there in water, that will be reducing the clarity of the water. Water becomes more yellowish or more darker in nature. Now we will be coming to a topic known by the name. So under the parameters of water quality, these are the important parameters. Then we will have to see what is a fecal bacteria. Fecal bacteria is basically a bacteria present in feces. Feces means excretory matter of either human beings or other animals. So most important type of fecal bacteria are coliform bacteria. Coliform bacteria is the most important type of bacteria. They are present in the environment and feces of all warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals means animals like human beings and mammals. Reptiles are not warm-blooded animals. So most of the warm-blooded animals will be containing fecal bacteria in their excretory matter. And coliform bacteria are unlikely to cause illness. However, their presence in the drinking water indicates that disease-causing organism could be present in the water system. The coliform, especially E. coli, they are not directly responsible for any kind of disease. But one indication that we can get from the presence of E. coli is that if E. coli is present in a drinking water, along with E. coli, other harmful or disease-causing bacteria can also present in the drinking water. So that is the problem. So if there is E. coli in the water, it is a sign that along with E. coli, other kinds of disease-causing bacteria can also exist in the water. And most of the pathogens that contaminate water supplies come from either feces of human beings or animals. So any water that is contaminated by human fecal matter or animal fecal matter is not good for drinking. The only way to make it treat it well is boiling the water so that this bacteria can be killed. And testing drinking water for all possible pathogens is a complex, time-consuming and expensive process. So it is not easy to test every sample of water whether bacteria or virus is present in there. So we are actually taking a sample, only one type, we are only taking one type of bacteria, and most of the time we are checking the E. coli. E. coli, so it is easy and inexpensive to test for coliform bacteria. So that is why coliform bacteria is so important in water quality testing. So if E. coli or coliform bacteria is present in a water, it indicates that water is contaminated. If the amount of E. coli is more than a certain number, that water may not be safe for drinking. So that is why we are giving so much importance to fecal bacteria. Presence of fecal bacteria is not directly responsible for any kind of disease. But at the same time, their presence in water is a sign that Along with E. coli, other kinds of bacteria can also be present in the water. So if testing detects E. coliform bacteria in water sample, search for the source of contamination and restore. For example, you are having a well in your house, and when you are testing that well water, it shows that there is E. coli. So there should be some source for that E. coli. The most important source may be some kind of leak in the septic tank or other kinds of source. So if you found that there is E. coli in your well water, you have to check that how this E. coli is reaching the well water. You have to check the septic tank properly in your house and also the neighborhood. And if from any septic tank there is any leak, that leak may be responsible for the spread of E. coli in the well water. Here you can see a total coliform indicator chart, and this is a very simple test, and you can see that by using this test we can, if there is any presence of gas bubbles, that indicates that E. coli is present. So it's a testing for the presence of E. coli is very easy. We are using some indicator, and if the E. coli is present, that will be developing certain gas bubbles, and that gas bubbles will be an indicator that so that is why we are using E. coli as an indicator test. Now there are three types of E. coli. There are three groups of coliform bacteria. Each is an indicator of drinking water quality, and each has different levels of risk. The first is a total coliform. Total coliform means it contains several types of bacteria. So that is why it is shown in the outer circle. Then second is the fecal coliform. Fecal coliform, a type of coliform bacteria that exists only in fecal bacteria. So total coliform means any kind of bacteria. They may be present in fecal matter and also in the environment or in the soil. And second is the fecal coliform. The third is the E. coli. E. coli is actually a subgroup of fecal coliform. So this is how the three groups of bacteria are classified. Here you can find that total coliform bacteria are common in the environment. That is, in the soil they can be present, among leaves and vegetation they can be present. And generally these total coliform bacteria are harmless. They are not causing any diseases. If a lab detects only total coliform bacteria in drinking water, source is probably environmental. So it is because of some environmental contamination. Maybe soil particles are entering into the water. So when we are checking the water for the coliform, we are only finding total coliforms. We are not detecting any E. coli. Then it indicates that there is no fecal contamination, but at the same time some soil particles are entering into your water. So that is if lab detects only total coliform bacteria in drinking water, the source is probably environmental and fecal contamination is unlikely. So that is the message that there will be only coliform bacteria. However, if environmental contamination can enter, pathogens could get into. So still there is a problem. If you are checking for the water quality, you are only detecting coliform bacteria, total coliform bacteria. That is still not a major problem because coliform bacteria are harmless and not causing any kind of disease. But the source through which the coliform bacteria can enter can also be utilized by other kinds of bacteria and virus, and that can enter into the water stream. So that is the problem with the presence of coliform bacteria. Then fecal bacteria are a subgroup of total coliform bacteria. Again we have shown that it's actually a subgroups of total coliform bacteria. They exist mainly in the intestine and feces of people and animals. So these fecal coliform bacteria are mainly living in the intestine of mammals, either human beings or the other mammals. And E. coli is a subgroup of fecal coliform. And most E. coli bacteria are harmless and exist in the intestine of people and warm-blooded animals. But only some strains of E. coli. Not all types of E. coli are causing disease. And some strains of E. coli are responsible for disease like diarrhea or dysentery. The presence of E. coli in drinking water indicates recent, so that is another important. So if you test a water and the water contains E. coli, it is a sure sign that there is a recent fecal contamination. That is, within 2 or 3 days, the water may be polluted with some kind of fecal contamination. So that is the message that you will be able to get when you are taking water for the presence of E. coli. So it shows recent water contamination. That means the water will be having many disease-causing bacteria also. So that is the message. So presence of E. coli in drinking sample usually indicates recent fecal contamination. This means there is greater risk at pathogens. Pathogens means disease-causing bacteria can also be present. Now, a specific strain of E. coli, known as E. coli 015.H7, cause most of the diarrhea-related problem. So, E. coli, majority of the E. coli strains or E. coli varieties are not causing any kind of diseases, but a few strains of E. coli are actually responsible for causing dysentery or diarrhea. So, that is an importance of E. coli is that their presence shows that there is some recent fecal contamination, and drinking that water without boiling can lead to diarrhea or dysentery. So this is the diagram of the E. coli. So most of the time they will be having a comma-like structure like this, a flagellum or whip-like structure like this. That is why they are known as E. coli. This is after staining. Now we have only 5 minutes more. The rest of the topics we will be taking in next class. So the importance of E. coli is that there is one point that we have. E. coli shows recent fecal contamination. If E. coli is present in water, along with E. coli, other disease-causing microorganisms can also be present. And testing for E. coli is comparatively easy. That is why we are giving more importance to testing the E. coli, because their sampling E. coli is quite easy. Okay. Now you take down some of the questions. Given